Yes, hello, and welcome to Release the Creative, your favorite show about creativity, cognition, and this week you keep me in a state. What? State of shock.
You understand I have to make these titles fit on the YouTube screen.
Just say state of shock. And this week, state of shock.
Okay.
I just watched our one from a few weeks ago where I made a whole joke about being viral, and you changed it to come and get it. It's like, what? That's not what the thing was at all.
No, yeah, I used to take liberties with them, and no, now I'm taking them verbatim, and it has caused me some problems.
State of shock. This episode is called State of Shock.
State of shock. All right.
So in Carmen Simon's book, Impossible to Ignore, she talks about there's a few different things that you can do to make sure that you stay remembered. There's a few things you can do to stay ever present. And one of those things is surprise. One of those things is being startled, especially and anticipation. So there's this really interesting thing of people will always remember anticipation. They'll also always remember startle, which is why when you watch movies like Jurassic Park or any other pseudo horror film, there's always that moment that you absolutely know something's going to pop through the window or the door, or it's coming, but it still manages to surprise you. It still manages to shock you. And that has been done very carefully with music and timing and shot patterns, because they both want you overly anxious and they still don't want you to have seen it coming, even though you knew it was. That's the point. And they do that because being shocking, being anxious, being excited, and being different are all things that fall into a cognitive complex that are very closely tied to memory, which is why you don't remember every breath you've ever taken, but you do tend to remember things that took your breath away. You take things that are startling. You might not remember every minute of the roller coaster, but almost everyone remembers the drop off the first hill. After that, it's a blur of sensory overload, but very few people. And that's evocative because it's anticipation, that sound, that moment, that thrill. And even though you knew it was coming, those few things all tie into being surprised and anxious. And those
last week I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning when my family had gone to sleep hours ago, and being the only one awake at 3:30 in the morning in the dark, I decided to watch horror movie clips on YouTube, because why not?
Have you ever noticed that triggers yourself? This is actually a real question. I don't tend to ask real questions on the show. Yeah. I tend to ask questions that I know his answer. I am a believer of weird and supernatural. You are, for the most part, not.
For the most part, yeah.
If I were to spend my 3 a.m. watching horror clips on YouTube, I'm already an insomniac. I'm not sleeping. I'm going to get a kitchen knife and start stabbing at the dark. Does that trigger you?
Yeah. It's interesting. So I don't like horror movies.
Okay.
And I don't generally watch them. But I enjoy clips of them on YouTube. It's what you talk about, the drop,
Yeah.
I enjoy the drop. I enjoy that this is scary. But I don't want to sit in a movie theater for 90 minutes and have all that anticipation.
You're really smart, because typically those moments in the horror movie, only good parts.
Yeah.
Horror movies, I don't like them because they manufacture a plot that isn't scary and is not believable. And then they hit these cognitive moments.
Being immersed in the world for an hour and a half will get those to higher heights. I get it, but I don't want that high.
Interesting.
I want it to be, I want to go off the low board, not the high diving board when it comes to horror movies. And so I found, and this is a great one to watch at night. It's a movie from about 3 years ago called Lights Out, which is, I've seen parodies of it since, which I didn't realize were parodies of this movie.
Okay.
It is it reminded me, you and I both Doctor Who watchers.
Yeah.
It reminded me of a Doctor Who styled monster, which is that, no, it actually is. It's the things from the library and the shadows. The thing can exist in the shadows, but not in the light.
Oh, not.
They have
Avashakarada.
Yeah, they have a name like that. And so that's Doctor Who.
Piranhas of the air.
In this case, it's like a halfway between a woman and maybe like a monkey. Like, you can't see her because it's just a shadow. She has long hair, she has glowing eyes, and she kind of has a monkey-like build to her. She's always like, she's like what's his name from Lord of the Rings, always hunched over.
Schmeagol Golem.
Yeah. And so in all the clips I watched all the scenes with the monster, and it's like that, where they're in a factory and there's pools of light, and if you're standing there, she can't get you. But if you pass through the darkness, and of course the whole movie, electricity seems to be failing, I guess, for some reason. And
It's another shtick from Doctor Who.
But
Yeah.
they played a lot with, flashlights are safe and phone screens are safe, but then you drop your phone and she's gnawing at your leg at that point. And the direction, the shots, the acting, the editing on this, they were all incredible. Like, I'll show you these clips later.
Lights out? Okay.
Yeah, every scene I watched was like, this is incredible. I only want to watch this 90 seconds at a time. I don't want to get immersed in this world. But yeah, it was funny because I came at it from the angle of, no, you know what it was? I was looking for a ghost video. And again, I don't know why. There is a particular ghost video I wanted to watch. And I could never find it. I found this instead. Just go down the rabbit hole here. What I was looking for was there's a clip from another movie I have not seen except for this clip, which is a woman is in a, like her mother has died and she's going through her stuff.
Sure.
And she's like in a bedroom or something and she's looking at photos and newspaper clippings. And she puts the stuff down, goes to the door and turns off the light. And this is one of these that like you have to turn your television to max brightness to even see. It's like so subtle.
Okay.
But she turns off the light and you can see like the old lady's ghost just watching her daughter. And the woman's kind of like stares and turns on the light and it's gone. And then she leaves. It's like, it's not the big jump scare part of the movie.
Yeah.
That one really resonates because that's a thing we've all felt. Like being attacked by nightmare monsters, not a real thing. Feeling like someone's watching you and barely feeling it, but not being able to prove it.
Yeah.
That's very realistic.
No. Yeah.
But what strikes me is all of these is as when I hit one I like, I'm like, yeah, that could be a Doctor Who episode right there.
So as Jeff and most people that know me know, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I'm not a big science fiction fan, actually. In general, I just every once in a while a story or a premise or a character really speaks to me, and the Doctor is one of those characters that really just resonates with me. I really liked the Russell T Davies Doctor, as well as the Stephen Moffat writing. So episodes that are really, really good are the Russell T Davies world with Stephen Moffat writing would be like Girl in the Fireplace, episode 2, season 5, series 2 of the new Doctor, David Tennant first season, episode 5, Girl in the Fireplace, is a masterpiece. And that is Stephen Moffat writing in Russell T Davies' world. Yeah. Likewise, there were other Captain Jack Harkness and the Are You My Mummy and the Stolen Child. That is another Russell T Davies world, Stephen Moffat writing. And then, of course, episode 318, Blink, which is David Tennant. Very briefly, it's mostly Carrie Ann Mulligan, and it is, of course, the birth and creation. It's the first new bad guy. Everything up to that point, the Daleks, everything else had been a rehashing of an old villain that they brought from the archives. The Weeping Angels in season 3, episode 18, were the first new monster for the pantheon of Doctor Who. And it was a Stephen Moffat creation in a Russell T Davies world. And those tend to be my favorite. I, of course, loved Russell T Davies when he took over with Matt Smith and the Pond Saga for the most part. But the absolute brilliance was Davies Moffat amalgamations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the few. I think I'm an aberration in internet land. I am unapologetically a Moffat fan. I like Clara across the board. I know I'm not popular.
No, Clara, for the record, people who say that Clara was a weak character are wrong. Clara was an awesome character who was robbed because the Impossible Girl should have been the coolest plotline ever, but Moffat got like bored and just stopped being interesting.
I've heard there was pressure from the network, but yes, I can point to all the flaws, but I'm just saying that's my era.
The entire Pond Saga, I will say, from the 11th hour through The Angels Take Manhattan was perfect.
Okay, before we lose all of our listeners, we're
getting to something.
We're going to do a point here. So, yes, the Weeping Angels, for those who don't know, which is maybe a lot of you, they are aliens that very dangerous. They will attack and kill you. When you look at them, they look like statues of angels.
Yep.
They're literally just stone. You can go knock on their head. They're just stone statues. When you're not looking at them, that's when they're monsters.
They're like the ghosts from Super Mario. They can move very, very quickly.
Instantly.
But they can only move when you're not looking at them.
And all of us, including us, the viewers, don't know what that looks like because obviously if you can see them, they're statues. And then let me just say from a production standpoint, the idea of a monster that doesn't have to be shown on camera is just brilliant.
What's strange to me is I found out that they're played by actors.
Really?
Which is confusing to me. It's like, why? Why not just make statues? Because making the statues in all the different poses is more expensive than...
You'd have to make a million statues. Yeah.
Right. They're still played by actors.
Changing position.
I did not know that when I first saw it.
But
I thought they were statues.
7 years ago on YouTube, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go right back in time because it's on this YouTube channel. I decided, Kirk and my wife and I were Doctor Who watchers, and
it actually is important to know that I have known Jeff and his wife since we were 14 and 15 respectively. Like, we go way, way back. And so Lori and I started watching Doctor Who, and then Jeff it became a big thing that we would talk about.
And something that my wife and Kirk here started doing is, I think you started it, right?
I did.
He bought a little garden statue of a little angel, a little stone angel.
Yeah.
And
terrifying.
We had keys to each other's houses, we're friends and we watch each other's pets and whatever. And Kirk started leaving the statue in our bedroom or around our house. Moving it around. He would come every time.
Kind of like Elf on the Shelf.
Yeah, but sinister.
Creepy.
And so the statue would move around our house, and eventually we put it back in his house, and I think that eventually a second one was bought. So we had these two statues that were being moved around our houses when we weren't home. So we'd come home, and the statue would be in another position. And this was between...
Elf on the Shelf on crack, yeah.
This was between Kirk and my wife, and I'm usually above such things. But what the real answer is, I'm above such things until I can bring the heat. And so I went out of my way to purchase some three life-size cardboard cutouts of weeping angels. And I went to Kirk's house when he was at the gym, and I hid them around the house.
Yep.
And then left. And for everyone viewing here, we're gonna play it here. I'll cut in this minute-long video. My friend is a big Doctor Who fan, as is my wife, and he's been pranking us for the last month by bringing statues like this over to my house and leaving them in like dresser drawers and stuff. So we'll find them in a couple of days. And he keeps asking when we're gonna get him back. He says, well, when are you gonna leave the statue at my house? And we keep explaining that we are not like that. We are not going to prank him back. So my hope is when he gets home from the gym tonight and comes into his bedroom, and it's going to be after sunset, that this might freak him out just a little bit. And if we're really lucky, it'll freak him out enough that he won't be thinking rationally and will not think anything suspicious in the bathroom. And this might give him a heart attack in the morning, if we're lucky. And if we're super lucky, he won't wait till morning to go in the kitchen, because I think at nighttime is going to be the best time for this one. So this video is a study in success versus failure versus maybe the failure is why it was a success. So first of all, this was before we owned this company. This was 7 years ago.
Yep.
This was just the YouTube page that we had. And we'd done a bunch of little projects on there, videos we'd made, things we put a lot of time and effort into. This was a real-time cell phone video. It is up to 500,000 views right now. Totally blows away everything we attempted to do on purpose.
We have one video more, which is at 2 million or something, but like...
one finally surpassed it. But for the longest time, this, by far the furthest engagement, even the more successful one has like 20 comments. This has 500 comments. And yes, I got an email every single time I got a comment. So for about a year, I was getting an email, like 4 emails a day about people commenting on this video.
Most of the comments saying something like, reaction video? Yeah, so is he dead?
We, I guess, hit this in the middle of people doing prank videos on YouTube. And so everybody wanted this to be like candid camera. They wanted me to hide a camera in your house and show you like falling over in fear. But like, no, this was real. I didn't put a camera in your shower. I went home. And so I have 4 years worth of comments of people being like, where's the reaction? Is he dead? What happened?
Even when we started this podcast in September, and
we put it on the same channel.
We rebranded the channel to the podcast name, but it's the same channel that we've had for forever. And I will say that almost all of our videos have a comment on it like, when are we getting the angel prank reaction video? Or when are we getting the follow-up to the angel prank? And I keep saying, hey, we'll do an episode on it. And so that's today.
Okay, so here, look at your camera, Kirk. Please show the audience what you did when you saw the weeping angel.
So it didn't work.
No, now they're all going to be so disappointed.
So, okay, I will say that there was something in the air. I saw them in the exact opposite order
of intended.
And that pinged me. I will say that the first one, which I saw, was the
kitchen window.
Was the kitchen window.
Yeah, see,
the first one, I saw that, there. And I absolutely jumped. But in the exact same way of any time you saw someone's face outside of a window looking at you,
yes.
That one truly, like...
But it didn't ruin... If I hadn't done that, the bedroom probably would have gotten you really good.
Right. And so that one got me. But I tend to be hyper observant of little things that don't look right. And so that one got me. And as I was walking down the hall, my door was, and Jeff is a little, he overplays his hand.
I brought in a video light and lit the room.
He brought in a video light and lit the room. So as I was walking down my always dark hallway towards my always dark room, the door was open just a little bit.
Glow.
There's a soft glow coming out. And I was like, that's not right.
It was a little too pretty.
It was a little too good. But I will say that as I pushed the door open and saw a 6-foot-tall weeping angel standing on my bed, ensconced in light, that room was so dark all the time. I laughed hysterically because I was like, that's good. Like, he got me. I mean, he didn't get, but like, that was awesome. So at that point, I was like, okay.
There's going to be more.
No, I really thought he was done. Well played.
I remember you told me the shower didn't really work because you don't close your shower curtain normally.
Now, hold on, though. You skipped something.
Oh, yeah.
Why do I keep the shower curtain open?
Because you're worried about murderers?
Because I'm worried about murderers,
like
Jeff.
any sensible person.
Like, I need you to understand that the shower curtain didn't work on me because of how well the shower curtain should have worked on me. I am so utterly every stupid sitcom, which has some making out couple hiding in a shower when some guy at a party comes and wanders in to use the bathroom or something, I cannot express to you how much that wouldn't work on me. Because it doesn't matter whose house I'm in, it doesn't matter where I am. If I walk into a bathroom and the shower curtain door is closed, I'm going to check to make sure there's not a serial killer in there.
Very rational.
You can laugh all you want, but one day it's going to work, and then I'll be glad I checked.
What was the show, The Mentalist? Did you watch that?
Yes. You're like, I check out everyone's shoes.
The guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah. Like, how'd you know to check out her shoes? I check out everyone's shoes. I check. So I remember I laughed hysterically. I looked, I laughed. I thought it was funny. I turned around and I started going, and Natalie already had known about it. You told her to not undo anything. And as I was walking back down, the bathroom door was open, which wasn't uncommon. And I looked in and the shower curtain was closed. And I'm like, oh, there's one in the shower. Like, because there'd already been one in the kitchen and there's one in the bedroom and my shower curtain is closed. And I am mortified of closed shower doors. You can come at me, man. They're terrifying. I check. And I do not close shower curtains ever. So the fact that it was closed, I was like, oh, there's another one. And so I didn't even check. I walked back and I said to Natalie, I was like, our shower curtain's closed. And she's like, don't tell him I told you. She's like, tell him I didn't tell you.
Now, see, I should have closed the shower curtain, but taped it to the back of the door in the bathroom.
Okay, for the record, I would have died. Like, had I gone into the shower,
checked,
gotten naked, like,
and looked at that,
and then closed the door. No, I guess the door would have been closed before I got naked, but still. And that would have been awful. That would have been good.
Oh, that's a good thing I held back.
That would have been good. But no, it's yeah, I saw them in the exact backwards order from your intent. But it worked as far as surprise.
Yeah, and it worked as far as YouTube algorithms go. So it's one of those that, like, you know, I just put it online mostly because I figured after it happened, you'd want to tell people about it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, here's a video that Kirk can share with his friends.
No, it was never.
And it really took off. And I guess it has to do with people watching Doctor Who clips. But I mean, I saw a lot of other, not this kind of prank, but people trying to scare each other wearing Doctor Who costumes and stuff.
Sure.
And like none of them had anywhere near the viewership. So I think it was everybody said we want to see the reaction. I think denying people that is what pumped up the anticipation.
And I think you actually really touched on it as well, is that everyone else was orchestrating a reaction. You were orchestrating a prank, which is to say, like, the thing that made it not work on me, the light, you weren't orchestrating a reaction. Had you orchestrated a reaction, you'd have come in and wired my house for cameras. Yeah. You didn't. You came in and wired my house for light because you wanted
the setup to be good.
The setup to be good. And that's how you and I look at everything, is that lots of people orchestrate for the reaction. They orchestrate for the payoff. They don't orchestrate for the success of it. You closed the shower curtain. Even you didn't know your audience on that one. You closed the shower curtain because you were going for the experience. You lit it because you were going for the experience. You put all of your work into the experience and didn't care at all, clearly, on the reaction. And the reason all these other people's did so much worse is they put way less work in the experience and put 100% of the resources in the reaction. And I think when a lot of people, not to make this way too much like our podcast, but that's why a lot of people's marketing efforts and their viral efforts, what do you want? They're like, hey, so we're going to do this video. Cool. What do you want it to do? Well, I want it to go viral. They're putting all of their mental on the reaction. They're putting all of it on the result they want. You're like, well, you have to have goals. That's not the same thing. The goal needs to be the experience.
Yeah, it's, I think it's across the board. A lot of times the trashiest, lowest common denominator, like worst things are the best at marketing.
Yeah.
Like you think like used car salesmen or like sleazy, slimy, like incredibly successful at what they do. I think some of the most successful YouTube ads that I see are kind of based on, there are a lot of times they're like those teenage drama video games. Have you seen these where they do like a sitcom that just like ends 30 seconds in? It's like the girl comes in, she's like, I'm gonna ask Brad out on a date, and they're like, well, but Brad's going out, blah blah blah, and then like it like ends, and they're like, what's gonna happen? Play this video game, you know, and like they'll do a little scene but stop it halfway in the middle, and it's kind of exploiting that. And like I can watch a commercial for like a car and I'm like, oh, it's a car, or like a movie, and I'm like, maybe I'll see that, and then there's this like tweeny 13-year-old drama, like not aimed at me at all, and like it'll be like, go to App Store now, and I'm like, what happens with Brad? Like not giving people an ending is kind of a powerful
no, and I mean it's always people say always leave them wanting more, and that makes sense, but the other thing those are doing, they're putting all of their thing in the experience of those 30 seconds. One of my favorite movies is Gattaca, because one of my favorite directors is Andrew Niccol. I recognize that Gattaca was not universally well liked, and even in my own opinion of the Andrew Niccol films, it's by far not his best. It's very you could argue it's very early in his career. I'm not going to relive the entire plot line for you, but it is about a person pretending to be someone they are not. They are disabled in a lot of ways. They have a bad heart. They have a lot of handicaps, but they are pretending in a genetically driven society to be a superior superior person. And
sort of Superman.
Yes, but no. At the end, someone that is genetically perfect, like the whole society is, finds out or figures it out. And throughout the movie, they play chicken and they swim out to shore. They swim out to the horizon to see who is the first person to say, I'm going to swim back. And they called it chicken, and at the end, these two people are like, if you want to prove you're better, let's do this again. And they start to swim, and they swim out and they swim out and they swim out and they swim out. And finally, the superior one says, I have to turn back. And he says, how are you doing this? How are you doing any of it? And it's one of the coolest lines. It's by Ethan Hawke in one of his very, very early roles. And he says, you want to know how I do this, Anton? This is how I do it. I've never saved anything for the swim back. Mm-hmm. So many people in marketing efforts and communication efforts, they hold back and they say, or they hold back and they aim at the goal. And you're like, you have to aim for the goal. They're doing it wrong. They aim at what they want to happen. They don't aim at what they want to happen for the person. They save some for the result. They save some for the follow through. And you're like, that's just good sense. But by doing so, they completely skimp on the effort itself. They hold back for the rush of people that are going to come, but they don't give the few people what those people need to tell the other people to get that rush. It's a little bit of a catch-22. Yeah.
When people love correcting people on the internet, you kind of harness that power. It's not that they're going to correct you, but you want to give them that last mile.
Exactly. You want to, it's all about user experience. And whether you're a website developer or a content creator or or what have you. The big point of the reason the Weeping Angel was so successful, and I really believe this, is that when everyone else was making, when you look at the good YouTube channels versus the bad YouTube channels, the awesome ones that just do holy crap good versus the ones that are like, right, you're a celebrity that wants to make some more money on YouTube. When you break those out, you can truly tell the ones that are making the show for the ones that are making it for the revenue, the ones that are making it because like, oh, I'm X and such celebrity, I'm gonna start playing Xbox on thing because I'll make more money. The people that are doing it for the result, I am gonna make this reactions video. And they are primed for the result. They typically don't get it, but as Gary Vee will tell and other things, every successful YouTube channel, whether it was that slime making girl or the Laura DIY, or when you watch a Laura DIY video, and I don't like Laura DIY videos, I think she's not one of the better crafters, but I will say, I can tell you why she's so successful is that her crafts aren't about the following. It's about the follower. She really is doing a tutorial on that craft. It's about the craft. She wants the video to service the craft and the follower. And therefore the follower watches it and goes, oh my gosh, I'm going to go do that craft. And so it gets the result. But if you aim at the result, like so many videos are, you don't get it because you didn't put in the work. Your video did because it didn't care about the result. It was all about the experience. You went out of your way to orchestrate way overplayed hand and people felt that. And so now people needed to see you lit the thing. You played it out. You told a really compelling 1 minute story. And all of those things led to people wanting the result. Whereas had you wired the house and got the reaction that actually happened, no one would have watched it.
Yeah. It's showing the guy in the rubber mask in the Monster movie.
Yeah. You serviced the experience. Everyone that watched that video got a better reaction in their mind of what happened to me than me going in and being like, then what happened? What actually happened? Because you serviced the experience, not the result. And that's the whole trick.
So me half-assing it and not following through is exactly the same as Jaws coming out better because Steven Spielberg couldn't get the shark to work right.
Yes, actually. I mean, that's a sad example, but you know, that rope and that pontoon was way more effective than
seeing more of it
than that shark would have been. Because, you know, I've gone back and watched the shark. It wasn't good. Like, that shark wasn't bad, but it was very animatronic.
Yeah.
It was, had we seen it more and given us more opportunities to scrutinize it, it wouldn't have done better.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
How many comments have we been missing over there?
Not many. Well, a few people have come in and come out. Not many people have talked. But it's getting late and a lot of people are on now, so there's a higher.
Yes, we fold in the face of competition.
Yeah. No, and you've heard me tell this story a million times, but so I'm not even going to tell the whole story, but I'm a firm believer of work for the show, work for the content. If you work for what you want to happen, it won't. If you work for the content, if you work for the show, if you work for the moment, then that moment will be perfect and your result will manifest. But if you work for the result, you probably won't get it. You have to work for the experience. If you want content to make people laugh, don't worry about your marketing strategy and your media strategy and your push. Work on the joke. If you want things to make people sad, don't hire Sarah McLachlan and take pictures of sad puppies. People will be making a joke about you a decade yet later. Work on the experience in that moment and that evocation of, and that will spread. Whereas if you just work for a result, you will almost always fall short of it. That's kind of the tip of the day.
All right, works for me.
I think is that it for this one?
Yeah, no.
We have had over 500 comments over 7 years, asking to hear about this one. I hope it's what you guys were wanting.
It's not.
It's not. That is what happened, though.
Just give us a Home Alone face. And that is the thumbnail we'll put on the YouTube. That's what all YouTube. It's like review of the latest Acura car.
Yeah.
You know,
I almost hate that. Like you're going through usually like, I watched Penn and Teller's Fool Us. Like this guy totally nailed Penn and Teller. And then he gets busted. And I'm like, dicks.
Gotcha.
Dicks.
Whereas
they did fool us, so I guess I had it coming.
Our YouTube channel is full of just random screenshots of us talking in front of the microphone. So no hype, no selling. We can't oversell ourselves if we barely sell it.
It's funny for
a
person who works in messaging and marketing. I have a really hard time promoting myself.
Yeah,
I know.
That's why we hire. That's why we do it for other people, because it's a lot easier to brag about someone else than yourself.
It super is. Anyway, so guys, this is Release the Creative. If you're watching us on YouTube, you should go and subscribe to the podcast. And if you're listening to us on a podcast, you should check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us live on TikTok, hi. If you didn't know that we also streamed these live on TikTok, if you'd ever like to be part of the audience at home or making comments or questions, feel free to check us out. I am Kirk the Creative, KR8VE, and we also have a podcast channel, Release the Creative, on TikTok as well. So thanks, guys, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us here at Release the Creative. Kirk here would never say it to your face, but he thinks you should like and subscribe to us on YouTube.
And Jeff is far too shy to admit it, but he thinks you should subscribe to us on your favorite podcast reader.
Yeah? Well, you're the one who's always saying that everyone should give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Why do you have to make everything so difficult?